This entire process has been, in some ways, an exercise in denial. By allowing ourselves to deny, holy shit, it's Star Wars. Holy God, what are we doing? By not being burdened by the opportunity and understanding, or letting that be the guiding principle. I think we were all trying not to focus on the enormous responsibility of it.
That is why you fail.
Hi, I am one dodgy dude. For nearly a year, I wasn't sure why I disliked The Force Awakens, and not knowing was really getting on my nerves. Because unlike 99% of the internet, I like to have solid arguments before I let fly with the complaints. The easy way out would be to whine about the plot holes, but I can't go very far on that one. Let me show you exactly why. How does Rey sneak around Starkiller Base undetected? Don't they have security cameras to spot her? Oh wait, that happened in A New Hope too. Okay, so how can Finn operate the Millennium Falcon's turret? It's the first time he's on board, so when did he learn how to use it? Oh, it also happened in the first movie. Well, how can a planet-sized superweapon not have enough TIE fighters to protect it from a handful of X-Wings that... Oh, okay, I'll shut up. So here's the million-dollar question. Why do the plot holes in The Force Awakens bother me, but the ones in the original movies don't? Could it be nostalgia? No, because I watched The Phantom Menace 2 years after A New Hope, and I have no compunctions against ripping in a new one. I did find an answer, just not what I expected. I'm sure you heard about David and Goliath. Under-equipped shepherd boy against overpowered Philistine giant. Star Wars is David and Goliath in space. The opening shot all but confirms it. Underdog rebels against gargantuan empire. One more thing David and Goliath has in common with Star Wars? Neither story makes much logical sense. But it makes a romantic kind of sense. And by romantic I mean an idealized view of the world, not an expression of love. In the romantic mindset, it's possible to accept plot holes so long as the story has a strong positive message, like the courage of having faith. In short, if we are dealing with a story of underdogs coming into their own, then their adversaries should at least have the upper hand. If you can make it so the underdogs come out on top by the skin of their teeth, or if in trying to get out of a jam they get into a bigger one, all the better. But The Force Awakens got it backward. In this movie, the alleged underdogs are formidable, and the bad guys, with the exception of their doomsday weapon, have all the shortcomings. With so much going well for the the Resistance, their victory is not exhilarating, or moving. It's a foregone conclusion. Let's look at the attack on the first Death Star. If we tackle this realistically, there's no way the Death Star doesn't have enough TIE fighters to shoot down every one of the X-Wings and Y-Wings. Can anybody tell me how many Rebel ships are there?
We count 30 Rebel ships, Lord Vader.
Don't tell me this moon-sized object can't hold 1,000 times that number at least. But we already established this story runs on fantasy logic, not real logic. So we can sweep some inconvenient thoughts under the rug as long as things are difficult for our heroes. And guess what? They are. The pilots get picked off one by one. They launch one run that doesn't make it to the target, another that misses the target, and the final one which hits the target thanks only to a leap of faith. Our little David has beat Goliath. The rebels earned their victory. A similar moment in The Force Awakens has the same surface look, but none of the tension or the thrill of an earned victory. The entire movie is a masturbatory display of how awesome the good guys are and how we shouldn't fear for them. Poe can fly any ship he wants, no training necessary. He shoots down 9 TIE fighters in a single scene. How can Rey fly the Falcon for the first time into a confined space and not get a single scratch on it? Even Lando couldn't pull that off. I mean, I know she flew ships before, but That's like saying I'm qualified to drive a Formula 1 car just because I've driven a pickup truck. In Empire, Han Solo enters an asteroid field to escape the Star Destroyers. It's reckless, but he doesn't have much choice. We immediately understand what a dangerous decision that was. And even Han regrets it. There's nothing wrong with having your hero admit he's not the best. On the contrary, it humanizes him, makes us root for him even more. Rey and Finn don't need us to root for them. In this sequence, we never get the feeling they're out of their depth, or that they got out of trouble just barely. And no surprise there, because watching The Force Awakens is like playing a video game with all the cheat codes on. Kill things with one shot and without even looking. Infinite lives, you name it. There's one moment that sums up all my frustrations with the movie. I watched The Force Awakens for the second time ever in preparation for this review, so a lot of things had fallen from my mind. I jumped from random point to random point in the movie, only staying for a couple of seconds in each scene. Eventually, I arrived here. And I was blown away. Her expression, the track selection that harkened back to another major awakening. Everything made this moment sing. And I thought to myself, wow, maybe the movie is much better than I remembered. But when I watched the movie in order, I got to this exact same moment and all I could think of was, what a waste. Because this should have been the culmination of a great heroic journey, on a par with Luke deciding to switch off his computer and use the Force to aim his torpedoes. Instead, it was just the latest show-off moment of why Rey is a total badass who doesn't have to work hard or sacrifice anything to earn her victories. So, to wrap things up, the first and most important reason why The Force Awakens is bad? It's an underdog story where the underdogs are overpowered. The theme of the story is at odds with the execution. Ruining the thematic core of Star Wars, however unintentionally, is terrible enough. But ruining the character work of the original trilogy's heroes, that's just salt in the wound. Join me in part 2, where I'll discuss why Luke, Han, and Leia got the short end of the stick. Until then.